government thing is obviously the eating out for less, which is on a Monday and a Wednesday during August. Again, another thing that obviously bothered me was the fact that it's, yeah, great, it's 50% off in terms of food, but what does this encourage people to do? It's probably going to be that they're going to buy more food and eat more food. So basically, it's just going to be a negative. Again, like you said, obviously what we've talked about in terms of consuming more food and stuff like that. I mean, what is your thoughts on eating out for less? Because
again, I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure on what the government's main aim was with this. Whether it was, because I know they discussed at one point, obviously, if you've had 3 or 4 months of lockdown where restaurants, pubs, etc., cafes have been closed and missed out on a lot of business, economically, that's going to really hit people hard, and it's going to hit our overall economy very hard. So I understand that they want people to get out spending their money in this country, put money back into local businesses, etc. However, if we're looking at it from a health perspective, I'm not entirely sure on what the main reasoning was behind it in terms of giving people that 50% off to go and eat out. Now, don't get me wrong, like there are potentially some benefits to this. People that perhaps couldn't usually afford to eat out and let's say have perhaps special occasions with their family, and have family gatherings and that sort of stuff, that's going to be positive because, you know, the bill's going to be 50% less.
yeah,
However, you know, just through the few people that I've spoken to with regards to it, they've truly taken advantage to it. And I think it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, in fact, at a lot of places, 3 days in a row, they're eating out. And don't get me wrong, ultimately, I guess it depends where you're eating out and ultimately how much you are consuming when you are eating out. But there's always the potential for people to think, well, it's 50% off. And I don't know if it's just how British people, how like people seem to think, but it's a case of, well, 50% off, I'll just buy more.
yeah,
I'll just get more, as opposed to actually I'm just going to go out, have what I'd normally have, enjoy it, have a really great time with friends, family, loved ones. And luckily for us, financially, it's going to be a lot better because we're only paying half what we'd normally pay. But yeah, again, for me, I get it. There are positives to it in terms of people being able to eat out together that perhaps normally wouldn't be able to. But on the flip side, I'm not really sure how that's going to benefit people from a health perspective. And if the government were looking at it that way, if they were, it's sort of, yeah, it's not one that I really understand as to how that's particularly going to help people.
I think it's a few queries for myself. One being that obviously I know they want to like get the hospitality back up and running and stuff like that. Obviously, it was a market that was heavily in like hit with. The other concern is obviously the fact that people are now having to dine in to eat the food, which obviously creates an issue in terms of social distancing, all this sort of stuff. We go back into that sort of loop again in terms of all them concerns, because that could potentially spread the virus if it's still around. And then the third thing in terms of the government, are they doing it in terms of, are they going to hit us in the future with more tax? In terms of, are they going to go in the future, are they going to go, right, we're going to increase tax because we're going to go for probably recession, which I've discussed previously with a guest, and I think a lot of people know it's coming, or it's happening now. So is it that going to be another factor in terms of why they're doing it?
Possibly. I think it's a real difficult one. I think only they really know why they've implemented it and whether they're actually sharing the reasons as to truly why they are. However, you know, in terms of like a recession, I think it's going to be interesting because I think certain individuals are actually going to be better off because of lockdown. And I think it's going to have enabled certain people to look at the situation they were in, zoom out, almost have a bit of a bird's eye view and reflect on where they are. And during that 3 or 4 months where people were in lockdown, go, right, this is what I'm going to do with my business, you know, assessing all different areas of their life. And I think a lot of people are actually possibly going to be better off. However, on the flip side, there was also going to be certain people and certain businesses that will have taken a massive hit from lockdown and potentially are unable to run any longer simply because of, if you have 3 months of no business coming in, people still have bills to pay, they still have mortgages to pay. And I think obviously we don't really know what's going to happen with the economy, how it's truly going to be affected over the next 6, 12, 18 months. So unfortunately, I think that's just something we're going to have to wait and see how it affects us. But I don't think we'll ever truly know what the government's main intention was with this sort of scheme. But that's just my opinion.